Hi guys, we're back on the audio amplifier. This will be the final video on it. We're going to talk about a few things. I went ahead and connected up real simple tone controls. There's a bass and a treble. I'm hooked up with a microphone into it and stuff, so thought we'd do a little demonstration here. Mind you that the speaker I got this thing hooked up to really does need the cone redone. It's in not the best condition. I'm just using it for right now, but if you look, it's got some serious issues. So it's not the quietest speaker in the world. Couple other little excuse me. Couple other changes I made was I added a plug. And then we'll look at the underneath side here in a little bit. But another thing, in the last video it had a lot of buzz. It turned out the 6J5 that I had in here was noisy. Had some good noise to it. And so I switched it out and it helped quite a bit. So we still got a little bit of buzz in it. A lot of that is due to the fact that I still got the transformer on the bottom side. That doesn't help matters. But you can hear me talk, and I'm going to be quite a little ways away from it. It's not fully up, but we crank it up, it gets a little noisier. Part of that is the output tubes it's got in it too are also a little noisy. From my test on the tube tester. Tube testers, you put headphones on them, you can tell if a tube is noisy. If it's got noise to it, you'll hear it in the headphones. And the two output tubes on here, which are actually pretty decent testing wise, are somewhat noisy. But plus all my 6J5s seem to be somewhat noisy. Anyway, the tone controls work alright. If I had some music to play into this, they would be a little better. I'll pick up more buzz as I go more into bass. Of course, part of it again is the speaker too. And we move into a little more treble, and it cuts my voice down a little bit. The other thing too is right now I'm attached into an isolation transformer. When I do plug it into a regular outlet, it quiets it a little bit. It would be advantageous if it had a 3-wire plug on it with a ground, because grounding the chassis to earth ground also helps a little bit. It's picking up noise from the lights and everything else. Because one of the problems that you do run into sometimes with high gain amplifiers is they start picking up noise from the surrounding areas. Everything will start picking noise up. So without either grounding them and getting some noise suppression that way, or and doing some filtering and shielding, you will run into this. This thing does have quite a bit of gain to it. So anyway, that's what she sounds like. So now we'll show you what I have done to it, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some design aspects and make things quite simple for you. We'll shut things down here so we don't get electrocuted. Now, I'll lower the camera down and zoom in just a little bit, and we'll look at some of this. And so bear with me. I have ordered a new camera. I ordered off Amazon. I don't know when it'll be here. When they tell you roughly about when they think it'll be getting here, they, sometimes they're pretty relaxed on that. They said somewhere between the 23rd of this month and the first part of next month, or I mean 23rd of not this month, this is still November, 23rd of December to like the 2nd or 3rd day of January. My guess is, unless it's coming from overseas, it'll be here a little sooner. We'll zoom in a little bit and get my pointer. I will draw up a better schematic if anybody's interested and get it uploaded on my Google Drive, where then you can just, anybody can go to and download it. This is your tone controls. It's a dual pot. It would work better, but it was the only one I had without having to drill some more holes in the chassis. But these should be about 500K. They're running about 750K. We have a, I believe it was 370 or 330 pico, well no, 500 picofarad cap here for the treble control. And then basically all we're doing with the bass control is adjusting the grid resistance resistor on the 6SC7 input to the grid there. So we just got a resistor here that hooks in with that, and it's in series with the control. The other things I'd done was I went ahead and disconnected the filament windings from ground, used paired them up. They're isolated now from the chassis, and then just twisted the wires. That helped some. And also rewired the transformer and did twisted pairs on it, on all the windings coming out of it. As well as we added some more filtering on the 2B plus lines, both the for the screen grids in the output tubes as well as the main. We increased those, added some extra filter there. Now again, like I said before, if you want more bass response, you can just increase these capacitors in size. That'll increase your bass response. The other thing too is this main bracket that holds the plug here, the jack, was actually isolated, and it was, if I moved a hand in there, it would pick up noise. By removing the insulator and bringing it to chassis and grounding it seemed to help some. This jack would be better if it was either located somewhere else other than underneath or shielded. It does, you can actually mount it with a screw hole here on top of the chassis. Again, putting the output transformer on top would be a better place. After getting the tone control in and getting some of the other wiring redone, I had to, these are the wires that go to the plug, that go to the voice coil, the speaker wires coming off the transformer. They were down against the chassis. Being down against the chassis with a lot of treble control, the treble control turned at maximum treble, it would self-oscillate. We'd get a squeal. By moving them up to about this point, it stopped that. That would be pretty much probably cease a problem with this being on top. The only reason why it's down here was I just didn't want to add wire to the primary because the wires was too short to put it on top. Again, this is not something I'm probably ever going to keep together. I don't need an audio amplifier. I have no need for one. So this was more an exercise showing you how to use the tube manual, and you could build, you know, literally just following it out and build your own tube amplifier. The tone control, I basically stole that idea also from the tube manual. There was an audio amplifier that, if you go to the back of your tube manuals, you'll find a bunch of schematics for different things, radios, and anything you want to build, and there was an audio amplifier that had tone control in it, and I just stole their idea. for you know, what they used. So basically, the other thing too is, let's see, any other changes? Yeah, I changed where the volume control is located, I believe, looking at it. It was coming off the input into the very first, the 6J5. Now it's between the 6J5 and the input grid of the 6SC7, which is a dual triode. And that allowed me a couple little things. Allowed me one thing. This plug here, the jack here, actually has 3 connections to it. When it's not plugged in, couple of contacts make contact. They got points right in here. And what I did was, this one is actually hooked to ground, so when the jack's not in there, this is effectively grounding the grid of the 6J5, so there's not any noise picking up. So when I had the volume control hooked into the 6J5, between this and the 6J5, it was causing problems because of the fact that I had some extra resistance there with the volume control. Now, let's talk about some other little things here. One of the biggest questions I have seen floating around out there is audio output transformer, and how do you know which one to use and everything, and how do you pick one and all that. Well, all audio output transformer does really is an impedance matching device. It matches the speaker impedance, the voice coil, to the output tubes. And so how do you figure out what one to get or use? I mean, you know, there's all kinds of them out there, you can, and everything. I'm going to show you a couple little things here. One is a formula, and we'll I know it's math, but then I'm going to tell you, you don't need the formula. And I'm hoping that we'll make it through this video. I'm flashing almost a dead battery here, so, and I'm having hard times with batteries. So we'll try to get through this as quick as possible. Anyway, the formula basically is the number of turns on the primary squared over the number of turns of the secondary squared equals the impedance of the primary over the impedance of the secondary. Okay, in other words, the turns ratio equals the impedance ratio. Now, that is not something that you need. That was used years ago, unless you're building a transformer. That's used for the engineers building transformers. That's also used, was used back in the day when manufacturers of the transformers didn't give you much information other than turns ratio. So you don't need that. What you can do, and I'll put the links in, but you can go to a site that sell transformers today. And one is Hammond. And I'll show you up on the screen here. The site. If I can get this thing adjusted. Anyway, they have some various transformers. It even sits here and tells you the tubes. This is for push-pull, and it tells you the tubes each one of these transformers use. The output, the input impedance, primary impedance, and so forth. Now there's PDFs you can download that gives all the information. But when you come down here, it goes through, here you have the primary and the secondary, and it tells you what wires to hook up, how you hook your speaker up, depending on whether you've got a 4, 8, or 16 ohm speaker. So if you had like a 4 ohm, you'd hook between these two, and the two blues here, they go to the plates, and then this goes to the B plus here. And then these two wires can actually just connect to the screens, and you're good to go. So you don't really need no formulas, no information at all. Is you just go buy this, you get the transformer you need from just basically this chart right here, right on their website. You know, are you using, you know, a couple 6V6s and push pull? Well, you get the 1609-A. So anyway, I'll put this up, information up, or I'll put a link into this, and you'll have the information you need if you ever build an audio amplifier to get your output transformer. And the rest of it you can get pretty well from the tube manual. Now, if you even didn't have, you know, what tubes to use, how do you know what the primary should be? Is simply from the tube manual. In the tube manual, underneath any one of the audio output tubes or power tubes in there, it lists the information in there. You know, like a couple 6V6s, a couple 6F6s, both are looking in push-pull, looking for 10,000 ohms plate to plate. And then, you know, your speaker, if you're using an old speaker or a vintage speaker, just figure 4 ohms. That's good enough. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit off, that's fine. If you're using a new speaker, you already know, because you'll order it. And when you go on the site to order a speaker, you know, wherever you order it from, you can order a 4, 8, 16, whatever. So you got that information. The tube manual gives the information that the primary needs to be, what the whatever two tubes you're going to be using in push-pull or single-ended output, whichever. And then your speaker, you get that information from, like I say, if it's a vintage, very old speaker, say figure 4 ohms. If it's anything newer, like a brand new speaker, you already got that information because when you bought the speaker. And then you can go and pick out the transformer you need to fit both those criteria, and they'll tell you how to hook it up. In fact, when you get the speaker, there'll be a little piece of paper in there that tells you if you got this speaker, you know, 4 ohm, hook it to these two, 8 ohm, hook it to these two, and so forth. So no math needed or nothing. That gives you all the information you need on it. So I'll put a link to this in here on the description so you can look it up. And like I said, I will get all the changes done on the schematic and put it in, draw it up better, and get it on there in the next couple of days on my Google Drive. And if you're curious where to find the Google Drive, you just go to my channel, and it's right there. Let me rotate this just a little bit so you can see it. Right on my channel, right here. Just click on that, takes you right to the Google Drive. And anything on there you can look at, you can download, and then, you know, it'll be a PDF. Pretty much anything is in PDF format. And so, and you can print it out, whatever. So anyway, I'll get that schematic in a couple days up on there, be drawn up, and all the parts list, or all the parts on there and everything, and stuff. So I think that's about all I have on this. I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head, so I'll probably end the video, and that'll be the end on this, unless there's some questions or anything dealing with it. On the next video series, we're going to look at, well, I'll show you the schematic and let you guys kind of guess what it is. It's a rough draft and everything, but this will be our next series on things. And this is it. It's got a 6AV6, 6AL5, a 6BE6, and a 6AU6. We have an input here, and a power supply and stuff, an antenna here. So we'll we'll be talking about this on the next series. There'll probably be just like 1 or 2 videos on it talking about it. So I guess until the next time, if you like videos like this, and if you like this one in particular, give it a big thumbs up. If you like this stuff, and also I do restorations of tube equipment, and whether it's radios, TVs, or even test equipment. If you like those kind of videos as well, then, and if you're just new to my site and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That way you'll know when new videos come out. Well, thank you for all your comments. It's been kind of busy the last couple, 3 days, so I haven't got back to any of them, but thanks again for all your comments and your kind words. And I guess that's about all I've got today, so I'll see you guys in the next video, and thanks for watching.